First off, taking a look at Menat's most prominent normals. Not that medium punch is one of her most prominent normals, where the big ones that you need to worry about are always crouching jab, standing heavy punch, and some characters have a really hard time dealing with her standing jab, but the easiest to break down. Medium punch is very negative on block. From Menat, Sagat is not one of those characters that can punish it from really long distances, but if he's at about this range, he can usually punish it with a reversal heavy uppercut. And the longest range punish that he has is actually, it won't get a knockdown necessarily, but at about this range, and if you don't want to take a bet on whether or not you're close enough that your reversal uppercut won't whiff, like that, you can punish with standing heavy kick instead. Or if you have, say, like a B trigger activated, to get a knockdown like that. Beyond that, so both Menat's standing medium punch and standing light punch actually do have extended hurt boxes, but they're just really high up, a lot higher up than most characters' normals hit. Those are really her only normals that have particularly extended hurt boxes, because she's infamous for you not being able to whiff punish her. But because Sagat's so tall, most of his buttons actually do hit high enough. And some of them are pretty fast, like Sagat's standing heavy kick, which is one of his best normals anyways. So you can fairly safely whiff punish her standing medium punch, or beat it on startup with a crush counter. Same thing with her light punch. And your other go-to normals will also do the job pretty well. Standing medium kick does a fine job with punishing it. And standing heavy punch hits at about that height too. You can also try whiff punishing with a few other things, such as a high tiger shot, an EX high tiger shot, Kara heavy uppercut, or a faster option that's easier to react with would be a Kara EX uppercut, which is actually fairly easy to react with, honestly. Like I said, her standing jab also has an extended upwards hurt box, so it can be hit by basically the same normals. It should be noted that you probably shouldn't be going for Kara uppercuts if you get crush counters on these moves, because you'll be really far away, and the Kara uppercut will likely not work. The closest you can be is like if this range you get a crush counter. You can probably link an EX uppercut, but you probably shouldn't try from much farther or with anything else. And one of the big ones, standing heavy punch. So it should be noted that, like most moves in the game that go over lows or go over low attacks, like a Rashid standing heavy kick, the Tiger Knee will get over the standing heavy punch. However, it's not necessarily a good option to go for, in my opinion. Well, the Tiger Knee itself is actually a pretty fine option, but if you're just intending to beat the standing heavy punch, regular jump in will work better than the Tiger Knee, because the Tiger Knee, while it will come out faster, the massive startup on the heavy Tiger Knee, which will be like the only one that will reach at the range that you have to be outside of Menat's standing heavy punch range, during the massive startup, you'll already be crush countered by the standing heavy punch anyways before you actually get into the air. So the earliest that you have to be in order to actually have the move get over the standing heavy punch is pretty dang early. If you're going to be doing the move that early anyways, you might as well be jumping that early, and you'll get more damage. You can try to whiff punish this, but it's not easy to do with Sagat's tools. Like, it'd be better to just take the opportunity to safely put a fireball on screen, because Menat's not going to be able to punish that by doing anything. If she's throwing the heavy punch, she won't be jumping, so you won't have to deal with that. And Sagat's ability to play the fireball game against Menat is actually pretty decent. Yeah, the heavy Tiger Knee is still decent to go for at the proper spacing. Its ability to, much like the Blanca Ball, its ability to collide with her normals on startup or get trades with her normals is pretty advantageous, especially since it's very low risk at that. Even if Menat were like backdashing or anything, Menat's ability to whiff punish is not particularly damaging or frightening, and you're going to have to take risks to get in on Menat anyways, so it's a fine thing to go for. So the fact that it will, near the end of its startup frames, go over the standing heavy punch is just an added bonus. It's not necessarily a counter to the heavy punch. That being said, the EX Tiger Knee is a different story. I think EX Tiger Knee is really good in this matchup, especially like doing the EX Tiger Knee just has less push block, so if you're at +2 or +3, you're still in range for a throw immediately afterwards. Unlike the heavy Tiger Knee, which even if you're +3 or +2, you're not in range. And the EX Tiger Knee gets into the air much faster, and its hitbox actually works a lot better against Menat's normals. So it'll get over and whiff punish the standing heavy punch a lot better than any of his other Tiger Knees will, and it'll also get over and beat her crouching light punch, which not a lot of moves in the game are even capable of doing. Which means that this move is capable of beating Menat's two most important, most difficult to get around normals in her entire arsenal. Now, moving on to her crouching light punch, luckily for Sagat, he's one of the characters that actually has normals that are capable of putting up a fight with it or beating it, whereas most characters, if they even try to press a button against it, they'll just get beat out or whiff punished or anything, because the active frames and the startup frames and the lack of a hurt box of the crouching light punch are just too much of a problem for a lot of characters to get around, making it like a move that Menat can just throw out at any point in time. You'll see all sorts of, like, all the most prominent Menat players in tournaments or anything, you'll constantly see them throwing out this button. It's an excellent button. It becomes more plus on hit or on block the further away it is out. And at max range, if you block it, Menat will be +5, and then she'll be able to throw her standing heavy punch immediately afterwards and still be able to anti-air if the opponent jumps. So it's basically like, it's extremely difficult to get around. It's just a light, which means that even if the opponent jumps anywhere around it, she'll still be able to anti-air. It's very low commitment. And yeah, this is the thing that makes it extremely difficult to get in on Menat in the close range or to check dashes, all sorts of stuff. So the fact that you can get around it with the EX Tiger Knee at the proper spacing is really helpful. And the fact that his normals won't get stuffed every single time he tries to use them when she presses crouching jab is also really helpful. So it's those same normals that are usually really good with Sagat. His standing medium kick, his standing heavy punch, his crouching heavy punch will also win against the crouch jab. You can do that. And his sweep, if he's outside the range of it, he can hit with the sweep. Beyond that, crouch jab won't really do much against his fireballs, and you're probably going to be playing most of the match with your fireballs anyways. And those are Menat's most prominent normals that are the most difficult to deal with. So as you can see, Sagat has a lot of ways to deal with Menat's most prominent anti-zoning tools. Particularly, the Reflect. As I mentioned in one of my Sagat zoning videos where I talked about his fireballs versus other characters' fireballs, I mentioned that in the mirror match, it's kind of ridiculous because as soon as one Sagat throws a low tiger shot, the other one can throw a high tiger shot to punish him. And if one throws a high tiger shot, the other one can throw a low tiger shot to safely put a fireball on the screen while ducking the high. So there's hardly any point to using fireballs in a lot of situations if you're not necessarily at a frame advantage where you can use one safely. It's the same thing with Menat, although Menat's Reflect will always have like the same recovery speed. It doesn't depend on which fireball type she's reflecting. But even so. So I have Menat reflecting and then blocking as soon as possible. As you can see, that is an actual punish. And depending on how good your reaction speed is, you should be able to punish Menat for reflecting a fireball. The slow, low fireball, you should be able to get a trade and punish with an EX High Tiger Shot, which will allow you to get a knockdown and move in. Anywhere from, like, this range to this range, probably, is the range where you'll be able to react to it and punish with an EX High Tiger Shot. It's a similar thing. You can throw high tiger shots, and if she reflects them, you can just throw a low tiger shot, and you're fine. But you won't necessarily be able to punish them because the EX low tiger shot doesn't go as fast as the EX high tiger shot. As you can see, it's completely reactable at a lot of ranges, even this far away. You should be able to react to the Menat player doing the reflect and then punish it with an EX High Tiger Shot, which will get you a knockdown. The most brutally you can punish the slide, or as a whiff punish, if you're waiting for it, is with Standing Heavy Kick, which the startup of the first hit is actually pretty fast. I think it's like 7 frames or something? And when Menat uses her drills, see the drills, even though they will like hit you faster than like a regular jump in would, so like you'd still be able to uppercut like a regular forward jump at this range, but a drill will hit you faster from here. When you do the low tiger shot, your hurt box extends in such a way that the drill will actually hit you sooner, thus messing up the spacing. So even if you get hit early as a punish for throwing a fireball, you should probably be able to recover faster than Menat, because Menat will be hitting you way before she actually lands and recovers from her dive, which will mean you should be able to punish it. Now, Menat, as a fireball character, doesn't have... her fireball in the straight-up zoning sense is not anywhere near as strong as her actual normals in terms of keeping the opponent out, but she does have some nasty setups, and it can be difficult to decide what to do if the orb is right in front of you and she's just biding her time, and her orb toss will constantly make things difficult, if not abused or thrown out all the time, because its recovery as a fireball is not actually that great. It recovers nowhere near as fast as a Sonic Boom or a Tiger Shot. So, honestly, there is like merits to letting her throw out the orb because it improves her combo potential, but reduces a lot of her the normals that she has to work with, and leaves her open to getting thrown or rushed down. And there's various ways that I've talked about in other anti-Menat videos to take advantage of the situation when she throws the orb out, especially if you're between Menat and the orb. But in terms of just her throwing out the orb as a fireball, Sagat should be able to eliminate it and keep up the fireball pressure much faster than she will be able to. Like I said, I probably didn't say this yet, but for Sagat's fireballs, doing the fast high tiger shot is probably a good option in like this mid-range, just to make it, just for the likelihood that it will hit, because it's difficult to react to because it comes out so fast and travels so quickly. And it would be more difficult for the Menat to react and reflect it if you're using the fastest high tiger shot. But I would recommend using the slow high tiger shot from like this, like outside the range of her standing heavy punch and onwards, just because if you throw like the faster low tiger shots and she sees it and reflects it, you might not even recover in time before the fireball comes back and punishes you. So because of that, it's probably best to throw the slow one, just so you'll be able to punish her when she reflects it with an EX high tiger shot of your own. And as for competing with her fireballs, unfortunately, so like I said in previous videos, this fireball doesn't hit you if you're airborne. So it waits until you're on the ground before making contact with you, which is why you can land on top of it and still block. But unfortunately, Sagat doesn't really have that many moves that put him airborne immediately, so he's not one of the characters that can just punish this on reaction no matter what. And unlike a lot of other fireball characters that actually extend their hurt boxes when they throw their fireballs, where Sagat can punish the fireballs with a medium uppercut or an EX uppercut, you can't really do that to Menat because Menat's hurt box isn't really there. So you can eliminate it and make sure that she doesn't get her orb shenanigans going, which might be a better option in this matchup since Sagat has some decent tools to stop her normals, get around her normals and force her to play a fireball game. So just using a fireball to eliminate her orb when she throws it out, to make sure that she can't get it out there, might be a good option since you can't really punish it. When you see it, Menat's still has some decent anti-airs that are still dangerous because of her ability to combo off them, especially crush counter anti-air hard kick with Menat into the orb explosion is really dangerous, but it reduces the horizontal range of a lot of her both of her anti-airs, her crouching heavy punch and her standing heavy kick, when she doesn't have the orb, which means that even from this far away, if you jump as soon as you see her throw the orb, you won't get a punish. Like, she'll be able to block in time. See, she's crouching. But if you empty jump, even from this range, both her crouching heavy punch and her standing heavy kick won't reach you. They're super short ranged horizontally when she doesn't have the orb. Like so. So empty jumping once you see her throw out the orb, or just empty jumping in general when she has the orb out, is often a good answer, especially if you're a character that can at least threaten with a jump-in from really far away, like Sagat can with his jumping heavy kick. Then that's a pretty good option to go for as well. So I've already talked about this extensively, so I won't rehash. I'll just talk about Sagat's specific options. His standing heavy punch can trade, and if Menat blocks it right before Sagat gets hit by the orb, Sagat can be a maximum of +3. And his other option is his forward medium kick. Can also be +3. And like I've talked about previously, if the orb is up here from the high toss position, and you keep Menat in block stun the entire time, it can't hit you if it's being recalled. Because unless it travels low enough, it won't hit you if you're crouching, and if Menat is in block stun, or standing, or backdashing, or in the air, anything else that's not crouching without blocking anything, then the orb won't go any lower. Which is lucky for Sagat, because he has a special move that he can input that is also crouching. So if the orb is coming from that high position, you can immediately, even if you're not punishing Menat for doing the recall, you can keep Menat in check by doing any crouching normal into the low tiger shot, and you won't get hit by the orb while it's coming back. And like I've also already talked about in previous videos, when Menat cancels a lot of her normals into the orb recall, but the orb isn't necessarily right there immediately, she's usually minus enough to be punished. So crouching heavy kick into the orb recall is going to be -5 on block. This is more of like a general anti-Menat tip, but yeah, it's like usually if she's canceling it off of light attacks or anything like crouching light kick, usually that's super punishable. Even on hit. As for your choice of V-trigger, V-trigger 2 is usually the best choice, but I would definitely say that's also the case here. You can start charging, and if you ever see that you armored a hit of, say, the medium punch or the heavy punch, even if you just started charging, you can probably punish it. There is a range where you can absorb a hit from the heavy punch, but it will still whiff, but that's right at the outside range of the heavy punch. Any closer, and you're definitely going to get a launcher. And even if the Menat sees you charging and jumps or does anything else to try and avoid it, it recovers extremely quickly. If you're charging it even just a little bit, you'll definitely be able to release it and still be able to like anti-air or not get whiff punished. It recovers very quickly. So for example, in this situation, where you can totally like block a crouching light punch from Menat at the close to the max range of the crouching light punch, and it'll be like +4 for Menat on block. And she can still throw the standing heavy punch. You can't interrupt it with your own buttons. So she can do that. And then throw out the heavy punch, but even if you jump, she'll still be able to recover in time to anti-air. Like so. So that's a heavy punch that you have to eat. Well, sort of. Now, there are many ways around this. Or, I say many ways, but there's more ways than people realize around this. See, in these sort of situations, you can actually challenge the heavy punch a lot more often, especially Sagat. If you immediately commit to doing something, like standing medium kick, or a crouching heavy punch are probably your best bets. That will at least trade, but it won't really be a trade in your favor. You'll do pretty much equal damage to each other, but you won't be at a significant frame advantage, and you won't be any closer to Menat. You have a few other like YOLO ways you can deal with this, but when you're in V-Trigger, you can start charging right away, and you can definitely break the gap into the heavy punch. So yeah, all in all, I think on paper, Sagat does okay in this matchup. I mean, like, Menat's V-Trigger will pretty much always outclass Sagat's V-Trigger or most characters' V-Triggers in the game. So Menat will always have that ability to come back. And for the most part, it'll probably be the Menat that's zoning out the Sagat, because even though you can punish her for reflecting your fireballs, that's only at a specific range. You still need meter to throw the EX Tiger Shot, even if you don't necessarily need it to be the EX Tiger Shot in order to punish her. At some ranges, like from here, you can probably react to it and punish it with the regular, like, high Tiger Shot. It's still not going to do very much damage. You're still trading basically the exact same damage, because you're still taking the hit from the reflected fireball. And the EX High Tiger Shot goes faster than the just heavy High Tiger Shot, which means that your max range that you can even do it from won't be as far. So it'll probably only be from like here to here that you can do that from. So anywhere else, Menat will probably just be reflecting your fireballs all over and making it difficult for you to get in. And Menat just has like better rushdown tools anyways, with her drill and her better longer range, safer jump options. That is one thing that Sagat gets in this matchup that not a lot of other characters get, is something to blow up the neutral jumps, because most characters can't anti-air Menat from outside the range where Menat's jumping heavy kick will reach, but Sagat can. So that's something he's got going for him. And if the Menat is giving him too much space, he can still pile on Angry Scars, although Angry Scar by itself only really matters once he lands it. It doesn't build him V-Gauge for just doing it. But yeah, I still think Sagat does okay. I mean, the fact that he has like normals and options that can contest with Menat in close range as well as long range is something he has going for him that not a lot of other characters have. But blow for blow, I think that Menat will probably still win, like be a stronger character if it's Sagat versus Menat. Because even though Sagat can occasionally land singular hits in neutral, whereas not a lot of other characters can against Menat, his ability to rush down or just control the match, or the ability to come back if he's at a life deficit, will not be anywhere near as strong as Menat.